Wanted to bring before you Senate Bill 112. This is the New Markets Program. I believe you guys are pretty familiar with this. This is something that I think I started the bill back in 2007, and we eventually got the program up and going here in Missouri. So I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about the background of the program. But basically, this is a federal tax credit that the federal government puts out there, and all these companies have to go and get vetted and try to qualify for the tax credit. This is something that has been used as one of the main things to rebuild after the Katrina disaster. And so what we were finding is that these organizations, these venture capitalist organizations, they were looking where can they apply the investment in the 50 states. There are certain rules, there has to be a low census income track and several things. So back in 07, we decided, hey, we wanted to try to make Missouri very attractive to draw this private equity investment into our state. So we came up with the New Markets Program. And back when we created this, we were beginning to have the tax credit discussion. How should tax credits be treated? How should they be structured? And this was one, and former Senator Gross, who was from St. Charles at the time, the head of the Appropriations Chair, was starting to sound the alarm on some of the issues. And one of the things they said is, it should have a sunset on it. So this is one of the first programs that we created that we put a sunset on. It should have a cap. In the program we put a cap on it. And a lot of the people at the time said, this is how you should structure any types of tax credit programs moving forward, and it has been a huge success. So here we are, 2013, and it's time for us to do our due diligence, look at the program. Is it doing what it was intended? What are the outcomes? And I think when you actually look at it, you're going to see huge outcomes. So it's time for us to make the decision whether or not we want to renew this program. The reasons that we should renew it, there's $7 billion in the federal program that's coming out in the next couple of years. The next award comes out in April. If literally we don't approve the program, there's several $100 million that would have come to Missouri, private equity investment into small businesses across our state in low census income tracts area that cannot qualify for bank loans, that would go ahead and get major assistance to keep themselves afloat to expand. During the downturn in the economy in 08 and 09, this program was vital to a lot of really good businesses that were struggling. The economy tanked, or they were brand new, but they were too risky, or they were overextended on lines of credit, and they could not get bank financing. We had the banking crisis. It was very hard for even companies that were operating in the black and things going great, but they still could not get financing. So in came the New Markets Program, where we had private equity investment that came in, was coming to Missouri, that was invested in existing businesses all over the state. And some of the things that we created back this 07, is that we did not want to have this go into real estate deals. We didn't want to be able, okay, we're doing real estate deals and all the money gets gobbled up. We wanted it to go into actual companies, and they could use it to expand, to hire more workers, to buy new equipment and new machinery. It really was designed for the small business that was turned down for conventional financing. So we have a couple $100 million that's sitting out on the table that if we were to renew the program, I believe Missouri would be very, very successful in getting invested into our small businesses all over the state. 100% of the funds are invested in Missouri small businesses. There's no middleman. There is no a person that takes a cutoff. This is the money that goes right into the small business, and it's for existing companies to grow and expand. Since 2007, we've seen $900 million of New Markets money from federal and private sources. That's 2 times what the state of Illinois has, and that's 20 times the amount that the state of Kansas has gotten. And that is simply because of the way we structure our program with our additional state credit that makes Missouri extremely attractive for this private equity investment that has been awarded through the federal government program to where will they invest it in the United States. They see Missouri as a great place, and we've had massive, $900 million of money since 2007. We have awarded $48 million in tax credits since the program was created. But we've gotten almost $1 billion in private sector investments that have been tied to the New Markets deal. That's about a 20-to-1 investment rate for every tax dollar, or 20-to-1 leverage. The economic impact, we've had the people that created the REMI model that, you know, they actually ran all the numbers and took all the information and ran it. And it has a great return on investment by most of the economic modeling programs out there, about $1.53 for every dollar of credit. I'm sure I'll have witnesses here that will talk about the number of jobs that are created, and you'll have some CEOs from some businesses that have directly impacted and can talk about how the difference of their business being closed, especially during the downturn, was the injection of capital from the New Markets program. I think we've had 57 companies that have been funded, and I think this is a program that the way it's structured, this is the way that it's fiscally responsible, that we should be always asking that we want to have a cap, we want to have a sunset, we have all those things, and here we are kind of, we're doing that. There are some changes to it. I mean, obviously the main thing of the bill is we're extending the sunset for 6 years. We're not raising the cap or anything of that nature. You know, we're trying to make it more easier to get the money into the business. We're eliminating some upfront fees. We're trying to make it more advantageous for the private equity investment to stay with the company long term. We want them to stay with them as an investment partner, not just be a one-time dump of money and no, it didn't work out, see you later. We want to make it available for them to continue to follow this company and so that they have success long term. You know, it has to meet all the Small Business Association rules and guidelines for the investment. So that's what it is from an overview. I have witnesses that can get into the weeds as far as you would like to get into the weeds and get into the details. But I will probably end my comments there. And
Rupp and Tracy King here representing the Missouri Chamber of Commerce and Industry. We'd like to go on record and support Senate Bill 112. Actually, we supported the bill back in 2007 when it was first enacted, and we believe since then it has been a proven project that has brought hundreds of millions of dollars worth of investment, particularly to small businesses, which we're always very happy to do, and then also to small businesses that are located in low-income tracts throughout the state. And I will say they can break this down by industry, but manufacturing is the lead industry in which you'll see the investments in the new market tax credit. And so for that, we would like to support that. I just want to clarify, I think the confusion on the expiration date, back when we worked on this in 2005, and I was not with the chamber at the time, but it's my understanding that you had two, we were just talking about doing sunsets, and you actually had two sunsets put in place. You had one within the statutory language that tells the Department of Revenue when they are cut off from authorizing new credits, because it takes several years for the credits to be utilized, and that was back in 2010. And then you had one that expired in 2013, and that is similar to the language that you see at the end of the bill that puts in the Missouri Sunset Act that says that the bill shall expire 6 years from the effective date of the enactment of the law. And so if it did not have an emergency clause at the time, it would be at the end of August. If it did have an emergency clause, it would be whenever the bill was truly enacted and signed by the governor. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.